Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark of the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1942 comedy musical 42nd Street.
Quiet, please! Quiet, please! Quiet, please!
Hey, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk so loud. I think I'm just excited to review all these films. If this is your first time joining me, I'm reviewing every movie in this book, The 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. 42nd Street was directed by Lloyd Bacon. I think that is the only movie he has on this list. It's also the only movie I've ever seen of his. It was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. It lost to Cavalcade, a movie that I have never seen and I have no desire to see. And it was also nominated for Best Sound Recording. Now, this movie stars Warner Baxter as Julian Marsh, B.B. Davis as Dorothy, George Brent as Pat Dennings, Ruby Keeler as Peggy Sawyer, though everyone in the movie basically calls her Sawyer, and it introduces Ginger Rogers. Now, I've seen a lot of Ginger Rogers movies in my life, most of them with Fred Astaire, and I didn't like any of them. So I will say that I enjoyed this one much more than I enjoyed a lot of the other Ginger Rogers films that I have seen. Now, this movie is known as the film that saved Warner Brothers. This was, of course, during the Great Depression. Warner Brothers took a huge hit financially. They were in dire straits. They were getting ready to go under, and this film was such a huge commercial success that it took them out of the grips of destruction and saved their movie company. And I absolutely think that's amazing because I love Warner Brothers. Now, this film also reflects the struggles of the Great Depression when it comes to what people were feeling in their everyday lives. It has people desperate for work, backstage chaos and exhaustion, and gritty, realistic look at show business survival. This movie also introduced the overhead kaleidoscope patterns. It has huge ensembles moving in geometric functions, which had never been done before. It defined the backstage musical template, which is a troubled show, a big Broadway opening, and a last-minute newcomer becomes a star. I mean, if we look 20 years after this movie, my favorite musical of all time, which is Singing in the Rain, follows that same template, essentially. So this movie really laid the groundwork for a lot of future musicals that would come. It's easy to watch this type of movie and say, I've seen this before, this is nothing new, this plot line is overdone. All musicals do this. I'm getting bored of musicals having this same template. But you have to remember, when it comes to this movie, they were the first ones to do it. They set the groundwork. They said, this is what a musical should look like, and everyone should do the same thing going forward. And that's basically what people did. So this was a groundbreaking musical, and at the time, this was something that had really never been done before. Now, the plot line for this movie, yes, it is a groundbreaking plot line. It had never been done before. I thought it was a bit confusing at times. There's a lot of characters in this movie, and there's a lot of different relationships going on. There's like double crossing, there's jealousy, and to be honest, after a while, I got kind of confused as to who's with who and who's cheating on who and where these relationships are going and what they mean to the plot. And a lot of it doesn't really mean anything at all. The bare bones of this movie is that there is a musical that is going to happen. Julian Marsh is going to put this musical on. He is someone who is famous at putting on musicals. He is world-renowned. There's a person who says in the movie, you shouldn't be doing this for money. You should be this rich, powerful person because you're so good at what you do and you're so famous and your plays are all hits. And he says, yes, I should be rich, but have you heard of something called the stock market? So they also mention the Great Depression in this movie. And I think that Julian Marsh, in my opinion, played by Warner Baxter, is the better actor, is the best actor in this movie. Now, he has some kind of illness. I know throughout the movie he smokes a lot, but I don't think we ever really know what the illness is that he has. But he has an illness where the doctors tell him that if he keeps pushing himself, if he keeps trying too hard, if he keeps going without any rest, if he keeps just going 100 miles an hour, he's going to really hurt his health, and he's going to have serious problems, and he needs to relax and he needs to stop. He can't do this, of course, because of the Great Depression. He has no money. He can't retire. So he has to put on one more show in order to get the money he needs to retire and to get out of this business. And you really see in this movie the determination he has, the struggle that he has trying to get this show perfect, and the amount of time that he needs to get it perfect in. You know that he's really fighting for his life here. He's fighting for his future. He's fighting to have some sort of legacy, and he just does such an amazing job acting in this film and showing emotion and showing the determination and the grit he has and the passion that he has for what he's doing. I think it's just fantastic what he does in this movie. When he was on screen, I couldn't take my eyes off of what was going on because I thought he really captured the film. He really captured the moment that he was in. He really stole the scenes. And when you have a bunch of girls dancing on stage, I feel like it's hard to be a scene stealer, but he did it, and he did it in such an amazing way. So he's putting on a show. He has his stars. He's basically overworking all these girls. There's just tons of girls that show up to this audition because everyone's out of work and everyone's struggling and everyone needs to make money. And all these girls, of course, are they want the fame that comes with being this chorus girl. They want to be the one who is the lead, but they also need to do this because it's the Great Depression and they have their livelihoods to worry about. So all these girls show up, and he picks the ones that he wants for his group, including Bebe Davis and Ruby Keeler and Ginger Rogers' character. He just works them to the bone. He works them for like a week straight. They don't get any rest. They're constantly trying to perfect what's going on. A lot of this, I mean, throughout the movie, he is shown as sort of a slave driver, making these women work and work and work constantly without any breaks. But it's also because of how much is on the line for him. This is the last chance he has to have a hit show, to make the money, to retire, to do what he needs to do. And if it's a flop, it's basically his life is over and he has nothing to go back on, nothing to retire on. So these women are his lifeline, and he's using them as if they're his lifeline, as if that's all he has left. So he's just working these women to the bone. In between all of this, there's these love stories, there's these plot lines that I really don't care about, to be perfectly honest. What I care about is the show that's being put on and the relationship between the girls. So eventually, the main girl who's supposed to go on stage, she ends up hurting herself. She ends up breaking her ankle, and they need a new girl to take the lead, and they only have one day to get this girl to put on the show. Now, it's recommended that Sawyer do this part. She's not a very good actress, but she is a great dancer, and she's not the best singer either, but they think that her dancing can kind of take this over the top. So her and Julian, they work tirelessly to get this right, to get everything straight, and he like kisses her at one point, which today would be problematic in the workplace. But they work tirelessly to get this done, to get this perfected. And at the end of the movie, they end up putting on this really fantastic show. She shines when she needs to. She becomes this unexpected star, whereas before she was just in the chorus. She was like this face in the crowd, and now she's the star of the film. And at the end of the movie, the people walk out of the theater, and they're talking about how she was this play, she was this show, she's the reason why it was so good, and Julian's lucky to be able to find girls like her who can really steal the show and be perfect for what they're doing. And at the end of the movie, you never really really know what's going on with Julian, but you know at least that for this one night the show is successful. You're going to assume going forward that the show is successful also, and I mean that's basically the movie. There's a lot of stuff I missed with a lot of characters. Just like I said, there's love stories going on. There's feuds and different problems that characters have with each other that makes putting it on this show problematic. I don't know. To me, none of it matters, and none of it is all that interesting. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, the plot line isn't for Julian's character to be like so serious and to be dripping with emotion and to be dripping with this anguish and this pain from the Great Depression and losing all of his money. I felt like even though there's glimpses of that in the movie where these girls are working hard and they're overworking each other and they're trying to find jobs and stuff, I feel like some of it doesn't follow that particular, like some of it's too happy at points, and I don't know, it didn't flow well to me all the time. It didn't really work all the time to me, but I thought it was a good movie. It's definitely not the best musical I've ever seen. It's not as good as Singing in the Rain. It's not as good as All That Jazz. It's not as good as Cabaret. Those are probably my 3 favorite musicals of all time. But this is a really solid musical. The acting is really good. To me, Warner Baxter really is this movie, and Ruby Keeler is very good as well. But Warner Baxter, I thought, was just on another level. I thought that he just brought so much more to his character, and he brought so much more raw emotion and feeling, and you really felt like this was a person who is fighting for his life and fighting for his retirement, fighting for his well-being, and this is what he needs to do in order to get it. I thought he did just such an incredible job with this movie, and easily my favorite part. I like to say I'm a fan of musicals, but lately I haven't been. I think it's a very select few musicals that I love, but this one I wasn't in love with. I do appreciate what it did for musicals going forward. I do appreciate that it saved Warner Brothers and that it was the template for all other musicals, and the subject matter is a lot darker and a lot grittier than you would normally see in a musical. They take something that is very much on the minds of the people at the time, the Great Depression, hardships that people are going through, and they put it into a musical form, which is not the easiest thing to do, but I thought they did a fairly good job with it. I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. I hope you join me next time when I review another musical starring James Cagney called The Footlight Parade. Thank you. Have a great day.